Story 1. The law of conservation of hassle states that the amount of hassle in your life is constant. It cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes form. Story 2. Public transport is late only when you are on time. It is never late when you are late. Story 3. Gut feeling. While intuition is not fully understood, it seems our subconscious mind picks up on patterns or signals faster than we consciously process them. Trusting your gut often works, though science has not completely unraveled how. Story 4. Printers are sentient beings whose only purpose is to drive humanity mad. Story 5. If you understand evolution, it shows that eyes, ears, nerves, and other sensory organs developed over time. This means that for long periods, organisms had no awareness of sight or sound. This scientific fact suggests that there may be things that exist which we are unaware of because we have not yet developed the mechanisms to experience them. Story 6. Microplastics are going to be the lead and asbestos of today. Toxic endocrine disruptors that can pass the blood-brain barrier cannot be good. Fun fact: we cannot actually prove anything because there is no control population that is not full of plastics. Story 7. If you hit the television or air conditioner remote twice on the head, it will start working. Story 8. Most of my parents' generation, also known as baby boomers, have lead poisoning, and we are starting to see the effects now that they are over 60 years old. Story 9. The lane I switched to will always go slower than the lane I was previously in. Story 10. Dinosaurs did not look at all like how they have been depicted. Story 11. We are inside a living entity called the universe. Because we exist for less than a blink in the cosmic calendar, we cannot perceive it as an organism. It is just a snapshot for us. Story 12. If I avoid wearing Buffalo Bills attire while watching a Buffalo Bills game on television, the Buffalo Bills will win. If I wear so much as a t-shirt, they will lose. Buffalo Bills 30, Kansas City Chiefs 21. You are welcome. Story 13. My dying girlfriend reached for me during my sleep. She was hospitalized and had already lost self-awareness due to recurrent brain cancer she had been fighting for well over 7 years. One day, I went home to sleep, and during the night, I suddenly woke up after hearing her touching my shoulder and calling my name for help. It all happened in a flash, but I clearly heard her and felt her touch. I rushed to the hospital. Her parents said she had a seizure about half an hour before. We always had a deep connection and were frequently in sync, which we used to call quack moments. After a month in the intensive care unit in a deep coma, I finally realized I had to do my part and let her go. I sang a song of ours in her ear, whispered that I loved her and that she could go. The next thing I heard was the monitor beeping wildly, and nurses and doctors rushing in. She was gone. Story 14. Local honey relieves seasonal allergy symptoms, even severe ones. It literally saved me from hospitalization 1 year, with effects starting immediately after the first spoonful. I use the honey remedy whenever we have a bad allergy season, but my allergies have been mild since the first time I tried it. I do not like honey and I trust modern medicine, but I use it because it noticeably works. However, it is not scientifically proven. I recommend caution because allergies can be unpredictable. Story 15. There is a finite number of types of people. I have met multiples of the same types of people, and I can even predict their mannerisms, beliefs, and characteristics once I notice what type they are. It is almost as if I have met them before. In my experience, this transcends age, ethnicity, nationality, and so on. Story 16. Cats domesticated themselves and taught humans that animal domestication was possible. Story 17. The human experience of ghosts and other supernatural phenomena is so universal across time and cultures that there must be something we are missing. Not necessarily supernatural in itself, but something the human mind does to itself that has not been sufficiently categorized and explained. I would like to thank everyone for responding with your diverse and frequently conflicting hypotheses, thus proving my point. I am not saying supernatural phenomena are real. I am saying that there is no coherent, data-backed theory of mind to explain the prevalence of perceived supernatural phenomena. Special thanks to the person who assumed and then denied the premise altogether. Story 18. The universe knows my schedule, and the universe uses that knowledge to prove why it is the ultimate trickster. If I leave to attend an engagement and give myself a healthy amount of time to deal with anticipated delays en route, there will be no delays. It will be the smoothest and fastest I have ever made that journey, and I will arrive hours early. If I am running just a minute or two late at the start of my journey, I will encounter all manner of unpredictable delays and problems en route and be significantly late. Universe, I am on to you now. Story 19. Every time I watch my college alma mater play football, they lose. Story 20. Thoughts can cause sickness and create healing to a very large extent. Story 21. People who believe the earth is flat have demonstrably low intelligence quotients. Story 22. I honestly do not believe there was ever a beginning, nor will there ever be an ending to the universe. I believe it is a never-ending cycle of expansion and then collapse only to expand and collapse again. Forever. Our tiny brain cannot comprehend such things. We have to find a way to explain the unexplained. The Big Bang Theory was just the beginning of the previous end. It has happened an infinite number of times before and will continue to happen infinitely, over and over. Story 23. When you are in a relationship, women can sense it and are more attracted to you. Story 24. There are things in the depths of the ocean that humans should never witness. Story 25. Just because humans have not discovered it does not mean it does not exist. Story 26. Runic Pyramid has a higher chance to appear if you have well-laid plans. Story 27. Processed foods and sugars, which make up a large percentage of the average American diet, are responsible for the majority of mental and physical health issues we see today. Many people refuse to acknowledge this or engage in a discussion about it. Story 28. Dreams process faster than usual thoughts or have some capability of backfilling. Too often we kick in our sleep, and our brain backfills a dream where we step off a curb. Story 29. Dark matter and dark energy are often misunderstood aspects of gravity. Story 30. Dreams are your brain sorting your memories for the day and encoding the ones it decides to keep into long-term memory. That is why we need to sleep. Story 31. I like the theory of genetic memory, which suggests that we are able to inherit memories and that they can be passed down. For example, if you are dreaming of a place you have never been to, maybe your ancestors were there. Story 32. The full moon influences the quality of sleep. It is not scientific, but many people sleep poorly when the moon is full. Story 33. We have all lived infinite times before, and we will all live infinite times again. The universe will never end. It will just reorganize itself in some way. It will do this again and again, until the time comes when it organizes itself in a way that creates each one of us again. We are all made of simple physical rules, and we can be created again when those rules are structured in the same way. If we assume that everything is built on the same set of rules, and that time is infinite, it must happen again. It will take a long time. We will not remember any of it. It will mostly be different from what we are used to, but it will not matter because, from our perspective, we will always be new players in this game of reality. Story 34. Paranormal entities and spirits exist. I used to be part of a paranormal investigation team during my college years. The team had professional equipment, and we always paid to rent locations with dark histories such as asylums, hospitals, and battlefields. I have had people grab me, respond to my requests, and even taken pictures showing faces and bodily apparitions. I was also a careful user of spirit boards for a while. Sometimes the communication was incomprehensible or absent, but there were sessions where spirits told me things I would have never imagined subconsciously bringing up in conversation. I lost a cat in 2019 to a surprise illness. I visited an animal medium in a city I had never been to. The medium knew my cat's name, behavior, and cause of death. Some of this can be attributed to luck, but this lady was very accurate. She used his nickname, which I never spoke outside my home. Lastly, I saw many things as a child. People walking in my home, confirmed by my pets reacting, and ghostly apparitions on my bedroom walls. I never experienced these things as I got older. Science will never prove any of this because it cannot be replicated consistently. Like people, spirits appear and respond when they want to, and only to those they choose under conditions they prefer. Wild experiences. Story 35. Critics of Vladimir Putin in Russia do not fall out of windows by accident. Story 36. Your energy levels are impacted by atmospheric pressure. Feels true. If the moon can control tides, then surely this is plausible. To clarify, the moon was merely a comparison. My hypothesis was only the first sentence. Your energy levels are impacted by atmospheric pressure. Story 37. Alien life, while it is mathematically very probable, is not proven. Story 38. That my subconscious can read a text before it reaches my phone. I had my first thought of Secret Santa yesterday, and 2 seconds later my brother messaged me and asked if Secret Santas have been chosen. It is not even December, and I am terrible at buying gifts, so it seems like a strange coincidence that I would think about it and then receive a text about it shortly after. Story 39. I have one. There is a chemical in tomatoes that only some people can taste, and that chemical is destroyed by heat. I am 48 years old and cannot stand raw tomatoes, but I love them once they are heat-treated. To me, when they are raw, they taste poisonous. I see people eating raw tomatoes and seeming to enjoy them. I just cannot imagine how the awful, poisonous taste could be enjoyable. Either that or I am a child. Story 40. Aliens exist. It seems like a mathematical certainty. However, I also think it is certain that we are alone in the universe simply because of the unfathomable distance and time separating aliens and us. Virtually 0% of the universe can possibly know we exist. There could be 10,000 advanced alien civilizations in this galaxy, and none of them would know about any of the others. The galaxy is that big. Story 41. Consciousness is the fundamental force of creation. The brain is a transceiver of consciousness, not a generator. Story 42. Humans generally do not like hurting each other and need to be manipulated, radicalized, or socialized into being okay with it. Story 43. Animals, including humans, pass down to their offspring much more information than we currently understand. If you were bitten by a dog when you were young and impressionable, your child could have an innate fear of dogs that you pass down. The implications are quite mind-boggling. Could you pass down learned musical talent, racial stereotypes, or sexual preferences? The list goes on. Story 44. There was a large, highly technological civilization before current written history. Humans are roughly 200,000 years old, and there are only a few thousand years of written records. They are always finding unknown ancient cities. Ancient Egyptians had historians. I believe there is a good chance that large technological civilizations existed and then somehow collapsed before current written history was established. Story 45. The story of Orion and the Pleiades is the oldest story known to humanity, dating back approximately 100,000 years. Story 46. That time is a physical dimension and we are traveling through it. Story 47. I believe that Bigfoot at least used to exist and could possibly still exist. Story 48. The universe is past eternal. It always existed and always will exist into the future, leading to heat death, where lower and lower energy infrared photons stream through a vacuum. As far as I am aware, there is no sufficient scientific evidence to support this position, but I still think it is the most likely true answer to the question about whether the universe had a beginning or not. Story 49. Something bad will happen if there are more than 2 of my mother's sisters in the same room. I have only been proven wrong twice. Story 50. When your body knows it is dying, it puts you into a dream state as a defense mechanism. That is why many accounts of near-death experiences involve lost loved ones, moving toward lights, or your life flashing before your eyes. Like dreams, your sense of time becomes distorted, so even a few minutes can feel much longer. There was a woman who died during imaging a few years ago, and the imaging captured brain activity similar to that of someone in a dream state. As a child, I felt validated when those findings were released. Story 51. That all religion was made up by the local village fool as a way of explaining what he did not understand. Story 52. Every light is green when you need a moment to do something. Story 53. Mature women in my neighborhood are eager to spend time with me. Story 54. Whatever God is, not only does nobody have it quite right, but it is not even possible for us to comprehend in any meaningful way. Story 55. Ghosts. I never did believe in them until I experienced something strange that I am unable to explain. It was independently confirmed by others. Story 56. The universe is not a flat plane but a large winding cave with multiple branches. It is possible to reach the same plane through different tunnels of varying lengths measured in light years. Therefore, sometimes we observe the same object along different paths and see it at different times. Story 57. The existence of some kind of afterlife is possible. I refuse to believe there is nothing but an empty void after death. Story 58. The kitten distribution system. One of our cats got outside and disappeared a year ago. Last month, my other cat was diagnosed with terminal cancer. 2 days ago, a 4 to 5 week old kitten that looks identical to my cat who disappeared crossed the road in front of my car. I brought him home, and he instantly plopped down next to my dog, who started licking him. That kind of stuff can make you believe in the kitten distribution system. Story 59. Animals can sense vibes. I don't care what science says about this, but dogs know when someone is bad news. The same goes for cats. They might not speak our language, but they are picking up on something we do not. Science has not nailed it down, but I am convinced they are better judges of character than most people. Story 60. The reason why gravity is the weakest force is that it is shared between universes. Story 61. Not sure if this has been scientifically proven, but the sense that you are being watched is real. I thought it was nonsense until I experienced it for myself. Walking home from the bar late at night, I felt really uneasy and had a sense of dread. I felt like there was an unseen danger nearby. About a minute later, I heard roughly 10 coyotes on the cliff above me howling directly in my direction. Luckily, I was only a few minutes from home, so I sprinted to the safety of my fence. Story 62. Law of attraction. While the idea that thinking positively brings good things is a belief, there is no scientific evidence that thoughts alone can manifest reality. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.